Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to today's H3O podcast. On today's podcast, we have the privilege of sitting down with Cody Roberts. Cody is the CEO of Pnuma Outdoors as well as Los Cazadores. We get a lot of insight into what is upcoming in the 2021 Pnuma line, as well as some pretty cool topics such as the Los Cazadores deer contest and some pretty cool technology called the trophy scan that Cody is a part of. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode. We encourage you to listen through, as all of our listeners are going to get an opportunity to take advantage of an H3O exclusive discount at the end of the podcast so that you can get into and try out some Pnuma gear for yourself. Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Well, hello and welcome everybody. We are back with another H3O podcast. We are excited today. As always, my cohort in the podcast room, Jason Hirsch, is with me, and today we have on the show Cody Roberts, who is the CEO of Pnuma and Los Cazadores, and we couldn't be happier to sit down. And he's busy guy, so to steal a little bit of time from him is definitely we're appreciative of it. So Cody, how are you today?
Doing great. Thank you guys for having me on. Been looking forward to this for a week now, and look forward to digging in with you guys. Love what you're doing, and I'm a huge fan, and love to talk to you more about your company and then also Pnuma. We're excited.
Well, to kick things off, I mean, I know for us, and thinking about just where we are as a company, I mean, some of the things that we've kind of identified for our own kind of personal, preference and things that we've been trying to work at is just, finding and working with people and with companies that, aren't just, trying to throw darts at a board, blindly and hope that someone says, oh yeah, sure, we'll do this. Really our origin started with Pnuma before we ever had a conversation, was just, through friends and through us kind of going through the trial and error of what we do and what we wear and the things we go out in the field. And it was something where, through Jason can talk about it a little bit.
I think we have a mutual friend in Brooks Kieschnick. And he was the one who originally got me onto the Pnuma gear. He had posted, I'm a former major league player just like he is. And he had posted your company we have a Facebook group, and said, if anybody wants, outdoor gear, my buddy Cody owns this company, and, you'll get 20% off. So I started looking at it. And one of the challenges for me, I'm 6'8", 250 pounds. I'm not your average sized hunter. And so poking around the website, I started looking. Naturally, I go to the pants because those are always the hardest thing for me to find. And you had a 36 inseam, and my freaking mind was blown. I was like, nobody in the industry does long pants. I currently, before this season, I was wearing Cryptek because they were the only other outdoor company I could find that made, they have a 35-inch inseam, and I wear a 36 to a 38 depending on the cut. And so when I saw that you guys offered 36, I was like, shoot, I'm going to jump on this. So I ended up getting a couple of pairs of pants, of your Tenacity pant. And as soon as I put them on, I loved them. And then I started talking with Brooks a little bit more about, what your company is, what you guys do. And that just kind of led the, chasing the rabbit down the hole, so to speak. And, here we are today where, Pnuma's been generous enough to be a sponsor of H3O. And we can't wait to wear the gear in the field and put it through the riggers.
Man, that's great to hear. And word of mouth marketing for us is huge. Everything we do is, we're trying to build the best quality product that we can. And, we're real subtle on our branding. For example, like our jackets, all tone on tone. We're not, you don't see 20 logos on every piece. We design the garment for a specific purpose. And if you like it, you're going to tell somebody about it, like Kieschnick did. Or if you'd like it, you're going to ask somebody about it. If you see it on someone, we want you to, and we know, you're going to ask, or you're going to see it through social media. And that's how it's a little bit more slow growth for us in our expansion and marketing efforts. But we know that once we get a customer in the door and we show them the quality, the customer service, our warranty, we're going to have that customer for a long time, and it's we're in it for the long haul. So that's good to hear. That's what we want to hear.
It really intrigues me. Like what led you guys down the path of saying we were going to offer all these different, different sizes, right? Different lengths from 30, I don't know, what do you got, 30 to 32 or all the way up to 36. Like, that's not something the industry typically does. It's, some of the other brands I've looked at, they're quote unquote tall, and it's the 34-inch inseam. I'm like, that's just a regular inseam for most people. What inspired you guys to go down that path of adding the extra length in there, and even customizing, clothing for anybody who may not, fit perfectly into what you offer?
Man, that's a great question. And for me, it's a simple answer. We're solving a problem. I'm from a business background, and there's a lot of great ideas out there, but it needs to solve a problem. And when we acquired Pnuma, we saw some of the things that they were doing from the lifetime warranty. That's not something we came up with. It's something that we loved and kept in place. But expanding on not only the inseam, the waist sizes, we do full tailor shops too. I mean, we've tailored some guys up to 42-inch inseam. Wow. So we can modify, adjust these sizes to meet. Yeah, I got a guy that's like 6'11", 320.
Wow.
So, so it's just that. I mean, there's all, hunters come in all shapes and sizes, and we want to be a quality shop that can solve those problems that people need a really good garment that they're going to use for years in the field. We want to be the company they go to.
Yeah, and I think that I'm the only one of our clan that is of normal proportions, because the rest of our guys outside of Jason, it slowly trickles. With like our cameraman this year is 6'5". Two of my lifelong buddies are about 6'5" and 6'6", and so from that regard, I mean that was a huge thing, because I can be selfish and be like, well, shoot, I can fit into anything. I mean, I'm just a normal dude. Yeah. So but it goes further than that, because I know looking at all the other things that you guys have done in terms of some of the technology that you have within the fabrics and some of that stuff, which to me I think are above and beyond where a lot of other companies are. Everybody else is just kind of straightforward. This is what we have, and you guys
just a moisture wicking camo pattern. Go ahead and wear it.
Right, and I think that I kind of want to get into that, because I'm intrigued by that too. As you look into obviously, as he mentioned, hydro wick. You guys have a cool core. You have a merino line. The apparel.
The Iconics. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
We would definitely want to talk about the iconic stuff as well. But was that in place, or is that something that's evolved since you guys acquired the company?
So they had a really good, Iconics was part of the assortment when we bought the company, and they had a really good assortment of items. But the company was founded in 2016 for bow hunting, specifically whitetail bow hunting. It's kind of what our customer base was founded on. But after those initial set was in place, there really wasn't an expansion into innovative products. So they haven't done, when we acquired it, there hadn't been anything innovative to date. And we saw that as an opportunity, because for us, we were looking to build an outdoor clothing apparel company anyway, and just found Pnuma through the industry and saw a lot of the good things they were doing, and then really quickly identified things that we can enhance within the company. And one of them was just the innovation side of it. And for us, our mission is pretty simple. I mean, it's customer service and innovation. We're going to build the best product we can, not driven by retail price. We're going to save as much money as we can as a D2C model, direct-to-consumer model, and roll that savings onto the customer. But, when we have our product development team meet, we never say, hey, we need to develop a jacket that's $199 retail. Let's build the best jacket for this application. Let's look at how many we need to order to get the price down. We need to use the best insulation, the best DWR, all the best fabrics we can. And then let's figure out a way to sell it. Now, it's probably not the best business approach. It kind of makes me nervous at times when we put orders together like that. But in this world, and I've been in the industry for a long time, I just didn't want to take any shortcut. And I think our company is going to see the benefits of that in the future. Yeah,
100%. And I think, I look at, obviously you can look down the line of comparables and things like that. And those, when you start layering those things, which is, like you said, creating the value, putting the time and effort into the technology that's in the fabrics and those types of things. And then when you come out at price, your first impression would be that, oh, well, this is going to be, clear on the upper echelon of where, it's going to be for someone to purchase this. And you guys have found a way to do all that in a manner that you're not sacrificing the quality of the product. You're not sacrificing, any of the other things that you're putting in it that serve the end user, and still managing to put it within that retail range where guys go, oh wow, like look how much more I get. Oh, and by the way, we have a lifetime guarantee. And to me, it's like those are the things that just they just compound on gaining, like you said, kind of that approach to how you guys are gaining with customers. Where once you get them in the apparel, like I said, I mean all of our guys plus a bunch of our friends. I mean they've just we start talking about this, and we have been for months, where they're just like, man, I love this stuff. And when we started kind of working with you guys and kind of spreading the word, guys are like, oh, this is fantastic,
Yeah.
And
they'd either heard about it, or like in my case, I had heard about it through Brooks. And I think just like anything else, right, you always want to kind of touch and feel things to make sure that they live up to your standards, or what you think your standards are. And I was fortunate to go. We have a Shields that just opened up here in Colorado. And I just happened to be poking around in there one day with my fishing buddy, and I saw a rack with Pnuma gear on it. My eyes lit up. I was like, oh my God, that's the Pnuma gear that Brooks was talking about. And I started playing around with it. And I was like, wow, this stuff's really nice. And I got to try the jackets on and put the gloves on and everything. I think, and maybe you can correct me here, but it feels like everything may be slightly overbuilt in terms of size. Where like an extra large is a little bit bigger than what a typical extra large might be. And that, like, I put a regular XL jacket on, and it fit perfectly. It was good length, good length. The arm length was perfect. I mean, I've got really long arms. I don't know if I would need an XLT in your brand, but I think once I was able to get my hands on the product, it's that just further solidified what I wanted. But I think like what Joel was speaking about is like everybody that we've talked to is like, oh, I've heard about that stuff, or I've seen it, or whatever it might be. And I'm like, well, now you need to go get it, because this stuff's really good.
Yeah, and that's the biggest problem with direct consumer brands. And one of the struggles we have is we know if we get a consumer to touch it and feel it and try it on and really use it in the field.
Yeah.
I mean, I firmly think that we'll have a customer for life. I mean, that's why we're in this game. But it is tough. I mean, I'm old school too. I mean, I want to walk in, try things on, compare it to the other garments that are hanging on the rack, and that was it was a strategic approach for us with Shields, because we weren't in any retail before we acquired the company. And then we have some really good friends over at Shields, and said, hey, this is they do a great job. Their associates are trained on the items. They know exactly what each item is designed for. They can talk about it. Every one of their associates go through our training, so they know all of our items. So we partnered with them, and it actually has really helped for that, just that hands-on, touch and feel. And it's funny, when Shields first came to us, they said, man, we were late into the season, and they said, hey, we've only got one area that's open. It's right next to Sitka. I know you don't want it. I said, no, that's exactly what we want.
Heck yeah.
We want it right next to Sitka. I don't know if we're name dropping on here, but
That's all right. No,
we want
we're
it
good.
next to Sitka, because if you can't go against one of the big boys, and we feel like we have in some cases better items. Now they have a wider array of assortment, and man, they do a great job at some of their pieces. But I wanted to be right next to them. I mean, if somebody's coming in to see Sitka, turn around and see what else is out there. Try on another piece. And we, nothing against the diehard Sitka guys out there, but man, don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah.
The Kaza pattern too, I think, is very eye-catching. It's not a typical camo pattern that you would see on the rack, like a Sitka with the digital camo, and even the more traditional mossy oaks and things like that Browning and some of those other companies are putting out there. So I think that serves you guys well in that market as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that was actually, a lot of people don't know this, but before we acquired Pnuma, we were designing the Kaza pattern. And we started in South Texas. I'm a sheep hunter, so I do a lot of aoudad hunting and a lot of mountain hunting out in the desert. And we were working down there to design something that works in really arid, dry climates, that is, still has that kind of earth tones, but has the occasional green in it that, guys in the South can use in a tree stand or in a ground line. The 20 days they go whitetail hunting a year, But on the occasional trip to, Colorado to, they draw their elk tag every 3 to 5 years, they can wear our gear and it would work. It would work in the mountains just like it does in the bottomland hardwoods. So we started working on that pattern and bought that pattern. There's no one else. It's not a licensing. We're not licensing it from Vail. We own it. And we were designing that long before we bought Pnuma. So we were looking at a solution for a camo pattern, an abstract pattern that would work in the South. And then what really surprised us is how well that pattern's worked across the Midwest. We have guys in Canada, BC hunting with it. It's pretty impressive, and it's cool to see these shots of people from around the world sending in, the Kaza in New Zealand and Spain, which is not exactly what it was designed for,
but it works.
It works.
Yeah.
How much of a trip is that to be a business? I mean, we're small business owners also, but that's got to be a trip to see your stuff out in the field all over the world getting used by professionals.
It is amazing, man. And like I said, I've been in the industry for a long time, outdoor industry from the corporate setting. Worked for Ducks Unlimited for 13 years. And, about 4 years ago, I kind of took a leap and did some stuff on my own and started a few PC or PR firms. But I haven't really been on this side of it where people are actually using your goods and wearing it. And, I'll tell you the first person I ever saw wearing a Pnuma t-shirt, and it's the one you have on, Joel. The guy was wearing that at the Dallas Safari Club show in January of 2020. And it's walking down the aisle, and I saw the guy wearing it. And I was like, I thought he knew one of our guys from the booth. I was like, who gave you that shirt? He's like, man, I ordered it online a couple weeks ago. And it was awesome. The guy thought I was some creepster, I was like, hey, why are you asking me my shirt? So we brought him by the booth and gave him a complete outfit. And the guy's like, what are you doing here? And I was like, well, you're the first person that I've seen in public wearing that shirt. We want to take a picture with you. And it's just cool to see.
Yeah.
And we get photos from around the world and different game species and guys using it in the field, which was it's designed for. I mean, we're not making a fashion brand. We're making a, utilitarian camo company that guys, we want them to use it. I mean, we have an ambassador program. We have a guide and outfitter program, but man, I'm really excited about the recon team that we have.
Yeah.
And right now we have 8 recon members. And there's guys and girls. They're badasses. I mean, to be a recon member, you have to be in the field, either hunting or guiding 200 plus days a year.
Wow.
And I talked to one of our guys yesterday. I haven't talked to him in 2 months. He's been living in the desert in a tent. And he came down and he's like, man, I've only got 30 seconds, about to lose cell service, but I need more pants. Can you send them to this address? And I said, yeah, which do you want? He's like, I need the tenacity pants and I need 4 pair to get me through the next month.
Send them to the dude.
Yeah. So
wow.
But those are the people that use our gear, the recon team. They use it throughout the year. We do the summit every spring. They come back, they throw the bloody, ripped up pants, jackets on the table, and we talk through with that team how to make it better, how to design, what do you need, what are we missing, what would help you in the field be more efficient and more comfortable. And I think that approach, it's definitely paid dividends for this year, but in the future, I really think that's where you're going to see our brand expand when we fill every void that the hunter, that needs in the field.
Well, and I think for us, we're what I would consider to be the type where you see a lot of guys that are I'm an elk hunter, I'm a deer hunter, I'm whatever, and for us it's like I know when we started talking with Amy, she's like, well, tell us what you guys do, and we're like, okay, well, we're right now getting ready for spring turkey. We're definitely going turkey hunting. Shed season opens May 1. We're going to go out. We've got some plans to do some shed hunting.
We just got done duck hunting, pheasant hunting.
I grew up in Nebraska, so for me, it's like I waterfowl as much as I possibly can. And, as we start approaching the fall, of course, things start leaning towards that. But even other things like I used to put on a huge dove hunt every year. And so, I mean, for us, it's, as you said, the versatility of being able to cross over into a lot of things where it's like, I don't want to have gear for this type of hunt and gear for this type of hunt and gear for this type of hunt. I want to have something that, is
we just want one tub of clothes. That's it.
And there's always a season, right? I mean, it's like your point. I mean, it's what kind of hunter are you? Well, it's what time of year is it?
Exactly.
Right.
That's
but I think the beauty too of what you guys offer is a lot of different things that, especially here in Colorado, we can layer. whether you're wearing an Iconics and then a Merino or something like that, and you can just kind of pull pieces off. But then, when it's hotter, like summertime or even late spring, or even early fall, when it's hot, we don't have to have a separate set of clothing to wear. We can just layer up the Pnuma gear, which is awesome, to offer all those different variances.
Yeah, and that's the one of the segments we're going after this year is a lifestyle, and you'll see more of our. Now, it's not a different jacket. Like for our Waypoint jacket, it's a very good jacket, kind of that mid-weight, kind of 3-season jacket. We're going to offer that in 2 or 3 colors this year. I think it's actually coming in 2, and then we've got a puffy down that's coming out in 3 colors. So you'll see more of assortment in solids, we know that. I mean, we're listening to our customers. They're saying, man, we love the Kaza, but can you give me something to wear to my little league, baseball games and snow skiing and stuff like that. And I think it'll help to expand our brand even outside of hunting. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, guys that are outdoors, some of my best friends hunt sheds in spring and may not pull the trigger in the fall, but they live to shed hunt.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to need good equipment to go out in the field. And I was snow skiing up in Colorado a couple weeks ago, and I wore the heated base layer snow skiing. You're on the lift. I turned it on up the lift and turned it off on the way down, and it was awesome.
Yeah. Were you here for the big snowstorm, or did you come in just before that?
No, it was just before that.
Oh, you got
we
lucky.
have a little place. Yeah, we own a place up by Durango, and that's where I elk hunt, and I selfishly bought a place that backs up to the national forest, so I could have a place to. The base camp for me is definitely improved. We've been in the whole living out of the back of the truck thing, but so we were up there doing some snow skiing, and the heated base layer is perfect for that.
Yeah,
motorcycle riding, snowmobiling. There's just a lot of different uses for our layering systems.
Yeah, I know for me, like as it's starting to thaw a little bit, I'm looking forward to, and I grew up doing a lot of ice fishing and things like that, and I'm like, oh man, change.
It would have been picked in the duck blind this year.
Yeah,
I got it like a month too late.
Yeah.
Yep. Man, those heated pants, we launched this last year. I'm a big waterfowler too, and those pants under a neoprene waders are. They're the cat's meow, man. Those things they'll keep you warm. It's almost like being in a sauna. You have to kind of watch it so you don't sweat too much.
Well, now I got to add it to the cart. Hold on.
Right. Yeah. So.
Darn it.
Yep, there you go.
But well, Todd, I know you mentioned a couple things, and I listened to your recent podcast you did with Dan. Over at Elk Shape and talking a little bit about hunting, and you kind of said that day that's always on your calendar is opening of archery every year here in Colorado, and for us obviously we've kind of adopted that as a tradition here where we're like, no matter what, we're going to try and get out. We're lucky enough that this year we've accumulated up to about five points or so, and so we don't like to chase as far as that goes, but it should be a good year. We're pretty excited about that. How many days, for you, obviously being as busy as you are, how many days are you getting out and I know you mentioned, sheep and stuff like that. Like how is it for you in terms of planning every year for hunts and what's your like non-negotiables?
Well, there's that's kind of a loaded question because in this industry there's hunts that we take partners on and we go out and test gear, and it's more of a I'm not the one doing the hunting. I'm either behind the call or entertaining or supplying the bourbon at night, whatever that is. And then there's hunts that I just don't miss. And I don't talk a lot about those because I don't want there's certain people that I would probably take if they ask, but there's a small camp that we have in Colorado, and it's the opening of archery elk every year. And you guys know the drill. It's probably too hot, and elk aren't calling, and they're up high, and it's God's honest truth. Last year, the first 7 days, we never heard an elk, never saw an elk, never saw a track. There was no water. It was just horrible conditions, but I'll be there at the same time this year.
We'll miss it.
It's good for my soul to go up there and get away. And that's for me, that first week of September is really what sets me for the fall. I really look forward to that more than anything. And that's what I love about what Dan's doing is, he's preparing year round for that elk hunt like we probably all should. But realistically, that June usually around Father's Day, I realize I'm fat and overweight and start getting in shape for September. So Dan is trying to push that up a little bit on me this year, the time on that. But yeah, man, September opening Colorado. I've never missed it. This will be my 12th season up there. And we started, me and one other friend, he's an outdoor rider, just looked on a map and said, let's go here, and drove up there. And we started out 2 weeks. I've gone up there for the entire season. All my kids have been up there in elk camp. It's not a guys only camp. I mean, it's I've had my oldest, who's 4 now. She spent her 5th and 6th month of existence in a wall tent in Colorado with my wife, and I'd hunt, go out all day and come back and be dad for a few hours and do it all over again. And it's really helped me kind of be a part of her life early on. But the first first elk I shot up there with a bow was my wife, and we talked about it on Dan's podcast. But my wife, used to be a taxidermist, helped me cape that thing out, and we carried our 5-month-old down the mountain 3 miles in, and I'm holding the child as she's caping out this elk for me. Nobody else to help. I made 9 trips getting that thing out of there.
Wow.
But man, that's what I live for every year, man. Is that hunt. And like I said, you guys know the drill. It's more years than not. You're not flinging an arrow, but that's not what it's about.
Nope.
So.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think you kind of mentioned it in a roundabout way too. You're probably even more fortunate where your wife is a big, she's a taxidermist or was a taxidermist, and so trying to sneak away or say, oh well, I'm going to plan to be gone for 10 days isn't quite as big of a maybe an ask at times when maybe she's like, well, sure, yeah, where are we going?
Yeah, that's the hard part, is getting away from her, because she wants to go, and we're talking about shooting the total archery challenge, and I'm trying to talk her out of shooting on my team because she will definitely outshoot me.
You got to have one ringer,
right? Yeah, that's like in golf.
Yeah, she's one of those that'll just make you angry. She doesn't practice enough, or like I do. I'll shoot every day for 3 months and go out there, and she'll fling one arrow and just walk away.
That's my wife on the rifle. It's my wife on the rifle range. She just she won't shoot a gun for the whole year. First time she gets behind it, she'll hit, 3. She'll put it through the hole 3 times without even blinking an eye. And I'm sitting there, how do you do that? And she goes,
same way, man.
You married a winner. That's what you did. So I was like, all right, I just accept it.
I could totally relate. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those, I am fortunate in this in this industry, in my current position. I mean, I do get some really cool hunts, and I get some invites on some hunts that you're going to have a really good opportunity to harvest probably a trophy animal, and man, those are great hunts. Don't get me wrong, I love going on them, but there's just something about going back to either a historic whitetail camp or there's a turkey camp in Texas I never miss. And then the elk camp in Colorado. I mean, it's those, hopefully, God willing, they'll be there every year.
Right.
So,
yeah. So talk about, kind of stay in the same vein, out of all the, things as far as hunts go and things like that. What's still on the list for you? Is there a target or a bucket list where you're like, this is one I still got to check the box on?
Man, yes, there is definitely, and
or is the list too long?
I've got my list. Is always within reach, but man, moose with a bow I've been itching for that for years now, and it just hasn't presented itself. And I want to do it right. I want to do the fly in backcountry. I want to do it right, and that's definitely on my list. So
yeah,
I didn't draw out this year. But I am definitely that's going to happen.
Is that a Colorado hunt?
It sounds like an Alaska hunt.
That's
Alaska, Colorado. That thing is. I mean, I don't know how many tags they give out, but it's like
not that many.
2 or something.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, we've seen a lot more moose in the last couple of years than I think we've ever seen prior. So that's I don't know if that's boding well for the moose populations, but. I hear more people talk about it. I see more people posting pictures of them.
Yeah.
So I hope that the moose population is rising so that those tags don't become so scarce.
Yeah. One of our.
No,
Go ahead.
Definitely agree. I mean, that's I put in for Maine, Alaska. you know, if all else fails, I'll do the BC thing. But man, that's one that I've got to do.
Yeah.
So.
I've got one of my good friends, college roommates or whatever. I think he's at 15 or 16 points in Colorado yet right now and still hasn't drawn it. So I have a feeling I'm going to be on a moose hunt sometime soon, but I may not be holding the weapon. So
man, that's okay with me too. I'd love to call one in for a guy. I mean, those things are, it's a beast. I mean, anything that large with a bow is, I mean, you're doing something there.
Yeah, we have footage from last year. Dusty was in our camp. He had a bull that walked in front of him at 10 yards last year. So, which was really cool. And he kind of,
and probably scary at the same time.
Kind of moaned at him, and he stopped and looked and kind of, wavered his head around and just kind of kept walking. And that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. He probably had an elk tag in his pocket.
Oh yeah,
always.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Whatever you see is what you don't have a tag for. It's just Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
Exactly. I could have killed some monster mule deer in southwestern Colorado and never had the tag.
Yeah.
So,
I know every year we try and keep extra tags in our pockets just in case. And if we have all the tags, we don't see any animals.
Yeah.
So if we have, just the elk tag, typically we'll see a bear or we'll see another deer or something like that. It's just the way it goes, I guess.
Yeah. I've got this rule. When we go to elk camp, there's no coolers allowed, big coolers. Guys bring in their truck 4 coolers. If that happens, no one's going to kill a bull or any elk, period. If we don't have those coolers, we're going to lay a few down, and then I'll be the one to go to Walmart and buy whatever coolers we need.
Right.
I'll take the chances.
Yeah, we should try that. We should.
Don't show up with a 16-foot flatbed trailer full of coolers.
You know what? That was our problem. Was it last 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Dusty brought a damn freezer.
Yeah, we had
He brought a freezer on the back of his truck with a generator. He was going to keep his meat in case he shot something. We didn't shoot crap.
Yeah. Yeah, we were doomed from the get-go.
Yep.
All right, no coolers.
I'm superstitious.
Unless it's holding bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Wait, you earlier you alluded to you were providing bourbon. I've been recently on a bourbon kick. What is your preferred beverage?
Man, Garrison Brothers.
Really?
Yeah, it's like 10 miles. The distillery is about 10 miles from our Pnuma World headquarters here in Stonewall, Texas, and I probably spend way too much time over there.
No, there's no such thing as too much time at a distillery.
So
nice. There's a lot of them around this area.
Yeah,
so.
I've been on anything from Buffalo Trace has been the flavor in my house. So we started off with just straight Buffalo Trace and found some nice Blantons hanging around here. It's not easy to find. I don't know. It's weird because I think regionally, and I don't know if it's like that in Texas, there's it's almost impossible to find Buffalo Trace products here in Colorado. But if you went to, I don't know if you go in Texas, but I know in Ohio, they just keep them stocked on the shelf 24/7, 365. You just walk in and grab a bottle.
Yeah, that's how it is here too.
Apparently I need to come down to Texas.
Yeah. You guys have, what's it, Tin Cup?
We have Tin Cup. Stranahan's is the local one here in town. It's in Denver. It's actually really good. And then the one I like the best is 10th Mountain, which is based up in Vail. And they make some real nice bourbon.
Yeah, that's a veteran-owned outfit. In fact, I know one of the guys who's one of their principal investors, which is
I mean, there's a lot. It is Colorado. I mean, it's pretty much all we do is smoke weed and drink booze here. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you got, I said you got Stranahan's and 10th Mountain. You got Laws, which makes a really nice whiskey. I mean, there's probably, you go to the liquor store, there's a section only for Colorado booze. And there's probably, I don't know, 10 or 12 different distillers in there. And then you go to the beer section and there's, the whole damn cooler's full of it.
You guys you're a little strange on your beer. And I got to point this out.
Feel free.
I was 2 weeks ago, I was in Denver for a meeting and we went to a little microbrewery there and they had, 100 some beers on tap. But she asked me, and I've never had this, the barkeep said, I said, I'd like a beer. What do you recommend? And of course, you don't say that. It's 150 beers. And she's like, well, do you want alcohol or non-alcoholic? And I'm like, I don't understand the question. She's like, well, we have we have 20 or 30 beers that are non-alcoholic. And I'm like, well, is this a thing? She's like, oh yeah, people come in here and drink all day with, the no alcohol content. And I'm like, that's strange.
That's
I don't get that.
that's a new one for me.
Yeah.
I don't drink
I
non-alcoholic, so I couldn't tell you.
I know in the strength conditioning world, there's a couple guys that I know that they're big on. There's one company that's pretty popular with that, where guys, they make all sorts of different.
Like gluten-free, I get, but
Yeah.
non-alcoholic, that's a new one. Is that to make it feel like you're like enjoying
I
the
said it's
moment, but you're not
blasphemy.
really?
It's not beer. It's not. If it doesn't have alcohol, it's
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
exactly.
You're drinking weeded water.
So, well, I want to talk about obviously the other portion of you guys' venture, which is Los Cazadores as well. I think that that has some very cool stuff. Obviously, you guys have 3 physical locations that they're all in Texas, correct? Yeah. And as you mentioned, a lot of that's very focused on deer hunting and just hunting south in general. But one of the things I was going to ask you about, because I know you guys promote and really kind of have a big thing with this deer contest. I want to hear about the deer contest, because I know that you guys kind of say it's the biggest deer contest in the world, and I'm like, I got to hear more about this.
Yeah, I mean, it's outside of Texas. It's kind of probably hard to understand. I mean, people call it the Texas bubble, but yeah. So Los Cazadores was founded in the '80s, and it was it still is, but it was founded on this deer contest. And Los Cazadores is that's Spanish for the hunter. It was long before there was a brick and mortar. It was just a deer contest, and locals in South Texas and what they call the Golden Triangle, which is where there's really good native genetic deer. And it was a place to come in and check in deer. And I grew up in Oklahoma, where every deer had to be checked into a fire station, a firehouse, every deer, doe, spike, whatever it was. But as a kid, I mean, that was the highlight of my day. Like I couldn't wait to shoot my deer and take it to the firehouse so I could show it off, but also talk to everybody else, see what comes in. I mean, we'd spend 8 hours opening day just watching the deer come in. And that's kind of what this was built on. I mean, Los Cazadores was just a hub in a really good part of Texas for deer hunting. People check their deer in, and it grew from there. I mean, George Strait won our tournament one year. There's been some celebrities get in it, and today it is the world's largest whitetail tournament. And we have 3 locations, but we have 5 check-in locations, so you can check them in across the state. We have different categories. There's a weekly contest. We do like the largest spike for the week, the largest mainframe 8. We try to mix it up a little bit, where it's not just these big giant high fence deer that people check in. And we have a low fence division, a high fence division, exotics, and everything else. But we have another company that has really made the deer tournament kind of handicapped it a little bit, where we have different categories. But we own a company called Trophy Scan, and Trophy Scan is how we score all the deer come through the tournament. And it's a 3D scanner that plugs into an iPad. We have an app called Trophy Scan, and you run the scanner around the deer in the back of the truck or hanging on a hoist, and it instantly scores it in B and C, SCI, total volume, which has never been done before. But it really it adds a lot of credibility to our tournament, because it's not one guy scoring it by a tape, and then you get him on the road and there's 20 inches difference. It doesn't matter who scores
ground
it.
shrinkage.
If you scan it and I scan it, it's going to be the same score.
And that's pretty cool.
And we're really excited. We're really excited about that, and being able to launch that across the country. I mean, it'll soon be where the iPhone or Android, whichever has the time of flight sensor, you can use your phone to scan a deer in the field and instantly score it. And we're using it for some biologists. Texas Parks and Wildlife is looking at it to help us, qualify deer herds and take records, MLD, stuff like that. And we're really excited about that. But the deer tournament itself is, man, it's exciting. Opening day in South Texas at the Los Cazadores tournament is it's a party.
That's cool. I didn't know that. That's like you must be using like the little LiDAR thing on the phones that help you with the 3D space and all that. That's really neat. That's way cool.
Yep.
I always figure out.
It's we have patents around it. What's really cool too is we can use the same scan to
Right.
replicate your animal. So if you scan your 8-point deer, we can make all the way to a life size, print. We're printing in resin. It feels like bone. All the way down to cufflinks, pendants, hood ornament for your truck, whatever you want. We can
That's
we can make it. We're like the novelty shop
right.
for your
Well, I
for
know,
all
like
things
I was
whitetail deer.
just watching here recently. I can't think of the guy's name that does Mountain Fest. That other offshoot of Total Archery, and that's one of their things is they went and had all of the world records made, essentially, and that's kind of what you shoot when you're there, so you get an opportunity to see like the size and dimension of all these
What it
huge
would have felt
animals.
like.
Yeah, like in North America. And so, and you see a
Yep.
lot of that, like Noah, who's one of our kind of field guys, who's one of those shed hunting
Yeah, he
maniacs.
sent
Like,
me some more pictures, by the way, while
yeah,
we were doing this. The
they
kid's a freaking
he just walk into a field and antlers
they just
pop
fall
off
out of the sky like manna.
the screen. And but he just had
Yeah.
last year they found a 200-inch deer, matched it up, and him and his buddy both wanted it, so they had an extra set made, and that's becoming really popular. So that's pretty cool. Now, will that also work with elk as well? I'm assuming. I don't know why it wouldn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Any horned animal. I mean, we've got scanners in South Africa,
Yeah.
any
Well, and I think
exotics,
that the
everything.
nice thing
So
is that, like a lot of other things that exist, technology will slowly prevail into a point where, as we've seen for years, is this subjective nature of a lot of these big animals that guys like, oh well, it should have scored this, and like, oh, so and so scored it, and they talk about the accuracy, and this kind of technology kind of takes that human error piece out. That now it's like, hey, if that becomes the gold standard, which you could at some point inevitably see that, to say we're going to take that element out of the equation, and who knows? I mean, it could even rewrite some of the other ones as well if you go back and use that on them, which I'm sure some people probably would love to do.
absolutely. Well, I mean, we're working with SCI right now to add this as another tool in their toolbox to use for master scores. But well, without geeking out too much on it, I mean, we named it Trophy Scan because everything's a trophy. I mean, we scan more spikes and fork horns. We do anything for kids, and we make T-shirts and hats of their actual deer on it, and we have some stickers. You see like the quintessential minivan
Right.
with like the
Yeah, yeah,
stickers of the dogs and the kids, and the husband and wife. We have that with and maybe it's a redneck thing in Texas, but guys do it with their deer, and they line up
that's
their
cool.
actual deer. Made a sticker on the back of their truck. But we're doing a lot of things like that to really just to bring exposure to that animal, and the volume score for us has been. I mean, I think it's given credit to the animal for all the bone it produced on its head. I mean, if you really think about BNC scoring, I mean, you're judging against symmetry when it's not
Hmm.
designed to be symmetrical, and I think the volume score, I mean, it's to the thousandth of a cubic inch, and it gives the animal credit for all the bone it produced on its head, and I think personally, I think it's the future of scoring when it comes to um, you know judging how large that animal is for its species. I
Yeah,
think that's the
most
future.
definitely.
But
So
uh,
looking at, maybe kind of jumping around a little bit, but looking towards, I know that this spring or this summer, you guys are looking with Pnuma to start releasing or producing some new things. I think you called it the Pursuit line or something like that. Is maybe what's next? Are you guys phasing some things out and working on, bringing in some new stuff? Like, where's stuff like that looking? I know you mentioned like Total Archery is going to be a good spot for releasing a lot of those things, and we're going to be at the Colorado one, so we're kind of excited about that. But talk a little bit about the future.
yeah, man, we're excited about this year's lineup coming out. I mean, there's a few items that we've enhanced. I wouldn't say, we've made some 2.0s like the nasty pant and stuff like that, but there's really in the assortment, there's nothing that's going away. We're just enhancing and adding to the assortment, like the Pursuit you mentioned. We're doing a Pursuit pant, which is we'll offer it in a solid. We'll offer it in Kaza. We're doing a zip off pant, which was We've had a ton of people requesting a zip off pant for Africa and dove hunting in Texas, where it's hot and a breathable, lightweight zip off pant. So that's coming out. We've got a really, it's going to be my favorite line. And I spent all fall and winter testing it myself along with the recon team, but it's called the Alpha Vertex system. And it's using Primaloft and some really superior fabrics. It's a lightweight packable piece that we haven't had in the past. I think it'll be the go-to mountain piece where guys are really layering and leaving when it's 20 degrees and may get up to 70 degrees in the afternoon when you're elk hunting. This suit, it'll be offered in a jacket, vest, and pants. I think will be the go-to mountain piece, and then it'll be offered in a solid and Kaza as well. We're offering another hole we had in our assortment is we didn't have anything other than the Selkirk that you could lay over and add warmth, another layer. We had a couple guys going to BC this past year and said, man, I love your base layer, love your mid layer, but your heavyweight is not heavy enough to go to BC and hunt in January. So we've added a true, it's a down system, 70-30 down, synthetic to natural, that I'm really excited about. It's a hooded scuba hood. It'll be offered in 3 colors, including Kaza. It's that glassing jacket that you'll wear when you're setting, and scouting or glassing a mountain, or
Right.
I'll wear it to Little League games. It's a kind of my go-to. I love a puffy. We're adding, several different pants options. In the past, we've offered suits. We had the Selkirk, the Waypoint, the Tenacity, and everything was offered in a lineup of suits. Well, I'm not your average hunter. I like to run lean and on my waist down, where I don't layer a lot on my legs. But man, I get cold. I wear 4 layers on my top. So we're going to offer 4 different pants options this year that don't necessarily have a jacket component with it, and then we'll have some other jackets that can be used with other suit options. So we're really expanding that lineup, where we'll the consumer, the customer, dictate how they use those. And then last, we've got a ton of stuff, but I'm kind of hitting the highlights. We're launching another base layer system this year. It's a true hybrid.
Yep.
You have your diehard merino guys, which sounds like you guys are, and then you have your diehard synthetic guys who, don't know how to wash it and get pissed when they throw it in the dryer and it comes out as a medium. We've got a system coming out that's it's merino next to skin, synthetic outerwear or outer of the garment, but it's similar to the Iconix fit. But it'll be a pant, a long sleeve, and then a hoodie long sleeve option like our Gunnison hoodie. That it's a true hybrid. I'm pretty excited about that too. I think it'll be the go-to piece for people that just can't make up their mind between synthetic or merino. Or if you love a synthetic, you're really going to love this. I think it'll be the gateway to some of these people that just don't understand
well,
the
and I think,
benefits of merino.
like for us, and this is an evolution for everybody. I think year in and year out, you start getting closer. You lay it out, you start looking at stuff, and like I'm now getting to the point where, as we start prepping to go into archery season, where I pull out all my stuff and I start evaluating, and I'm like, how many times did I put that on last year? How many times did I put this on last year? And we're getting to where our mission, as you said, is to run lean, because the beauty of a merino, or whether it's a blend of those two or whatever, is that I don't want to bring 3 sets, and I don't want to have to bring 2 totes worth of things. And I'm like you, where as far as legs and stuff like that go, my lower half, not that worried about it, and I run pretty hot anyway, so I don't need to have 2 and 3 options and everything. And we want to be able to we're working towards, like, our style of hunting, especially during archery season, is that our mission is we set a camp. And we've done everything, like you mentioned, a wall wall setup, where we have a 16x20 outfitter set up, and then we moved into last year like an Alaknak series, a smaller from Cabela's, where we can put that thing up, set it down in 20 minutes, and we could pick up and move. Or better yet, if we get to where we want to camp, we just don't like the idea of being so centralized to, like, well, this is where camp is, and now all of a sudden you've got a radius that limits how far you're going to go from that given spot based on how much work you put in. And so we want to be able to say, all right, well, we want to throw whatever we need to in our pack. And guess what? If we end up going, out a day and we get to where we start getting into elk, we want to be able to post up right there, and then maybe be able to move another 2, 3, 4 miles the next day from there. And I think that's been, where looking at, as you said, the lines and things that you do, it affords us the opportunity to be able to do that, because every pound that you put on your back matters, and the farther you go is the further you're going to have to pack it out. And if you put anything down, then you're really talking about the work starting. So it just makes so much sense. And for us, like I said, that's why we're excited about all of those options and opportunities, because it's just going to be that much better for us as far as making better decisions and simplifying the process, yet maximizing what we're capable of doing in the gear.
Yeah. Well, in that, I think this year you'll see, you guys are familiar with our lineup. You'll see more of that lightweight approach to some of the stuff we're doing. Nothing against Selkirk and Waypoint and things we've had in the past, but it was designed for bow hunters that are in a ground blind or in a tree stand for long periods of time. Range of motion through the shoulders. Everything we do is designed around bow hunting, because it has to be, quiet. The zippers, the buttons, everything has to be quiet. We know it's going to work when you're long range hunting too, but what we haven't in the past paid attention to is that lightweight component. Packable, lightweight, breathable, quick drying. All those things come with really superior fabrics. Now, a lot of our competition does a better job of marketing. We spend that money on getting the best product out there and our warranty. It costs a lot more for us to acquire customers, but once we get somebody in, we'd like to take care of them. But you'll see our lineup this year, you'll see more lightweight, breathable, packable pieces that will really work well on the mountain for you guys, and also work well in the ground blind or in a tree stand. Again, staying true to our roots on being quiet, waterproof. And, everyone says, your whitetail brand, I'm not going to use you on the mountain. Well, just like you said, you can pack 2 totes of stuff knowing that something's going to break. And I used to do that. I used to take 3 jackets knowing I was either going to rip one up or I was going to tear a zipper and having a backup. Man, I don't know if I'm getting older or what. I really value a quality gear. I've got a Filson briefcase I've had for 30 years. I don't want to give up what's that quote from Lonesome Dove? I'm not going to give up on a garment because it's got a little age on it. If it works, I'm going to use it, man. And that's why I really think people see the quality of our gear.
So, now you mentioned shooting at Total Archery this year, and I know that you guys are going to be out here. Are you this year?
I'll be there. I'll be in Colorado. I'll be in Big Sky,
Awesome.
and then obviously Texas. Our crew is going to be in Utah. I personally won't be in Utah, but we're gonna make the scene this year, the circuit, and we've got a really cool we call it the Pnuma van, but it's a jacked up 4x4 van that's pulling a trailer and it's wrapped, and it'll be fun. We'll have a party wherever we go. So
bring some Garrison brothers on. Bring some Garrison brothers on. Bring some Colorado stuff.
I will definitely do that. Let's have a toast off. I'll bring the Texas and you bring the Colorado, and
I'll trade you a bottle. Let's just make that deal now. You bring me Garrison, I'll bring you a bottle of whatever Colorado whiskey you want.
Done. It's opening. Let's do that Friday night in Colorado.
We will be there
at the Pnuma van.
We're looking forward to that, and I know I already sent Amy kind of an email about that, and we're gonna. Look for that. We were so pumped just the fact that they finally got one here last year, because we were going to drive this year, and then they finally. And I think it's, when you look at just Total Archery in general, most of the resorts in Colorado are so big, that they looked at an opportunity like that and said, yeah, we don't really need that here, and if you look at their model, which is, some of the smaller boutique type resorts and things like that, where there's an opportunity for them to, make some more money, and they finally found, one of those that's maybe not quite as mainstream here in Colorado, and we were so pumped to have them finally get to Colorado. I know people have been asked about that, so we're excited for that.
It was a fun event last year too.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah. And we're definitely looking forward to it. I mean, I think Amy said that's
Yeah.
one of them that's already sold
Yeah,
out. I mean,
we
there should
we
be a
signed up
really
as
strong
quickly as
crowd there.
possible, and
And we got a
still had
full,
some time slots that were filling quickly or
yeah,
sold out by the time we got there.
man, it's crazy. And that, I mean, that's the reason we're there. I mean, this is kind of a guerrilla grassroots marketing push for us, but we know that everyone on that mountain that comes to shoot that, they value the gear. They're shooting bows. I mean, they're our customer. They're our customer base. We want to show them Pnuma, and it's again to your point earlier, man. We need to put it in their hands, let them try it on, and let them be the judge of if they like it
Yeah.
or not. But we'll be there. We'll be there
Heck yeah.
drinking bourbon.
We'll be
regardless,
carrying the
so.
torch and making sure everybody knows as well. We'll be sending people down to the booth for sure. So,
We'll do a podcast in the booth. We've got a full
yeah,
production studio.
I
in
mentioned that to
Canada, man.
Amy
You guys
actually.
do a
I
podcast in
said
there.
that we should do that. So
We'll bring our
we're all
gear.
in.
You got gear. We're perfect. Let's do it. We'll do it over bourbon.
Yep, we
Hell
can
yeah.
do our bourbon tasting there live
Awesome.
and in
That's what I'm
person.
talking about.
And then, obviously, you mentioned coming to Denver. We're not too far from the airport, so if you get back into town, let us know. I mean, we can shoot. We've got a range right outside of our door at the facility, and I'd love to have you stop by if you do come back to Denver, or grab dinner or something like that. So let us know if you're in town. We'd love to host you, and we appreciate your time, and we're like I said, we couldn't be more excited about going into the next year and all the things that we have, as far as our plans and stuff like that, and to get an opportunity to work with you guys is super exciting. So we thank you for that.
Well, man, thanks for having me on, and man, I look forward to meeting you guys in person, and I'll definitely take you up on that in Denver. I spend
Awesome.
a lot of time there, so we'll grab dinner and talk about gear. And it's always, I spend most of my day looking at spreadsheets and putting out fires. It's refreshing, I guess is the word I'm looking for, to spend time with guys like yourself that value gear, value time on the mountain,
Yep.
look forward to the same hunts I do, and can really talk about it. And I think that's why I'm probably so excited about Total Archery Challenge. I mean, I could really care less about shooting. I really want to go up there and meet you guys, meet other like-minded hunters and archers that like to spend time in the mountains, and
Yeah,
only good things can come from that. So
100%. And at the same time, if there's ever an opportunity we can get out in the field, we'll definitely welcome that too. We'll take you on.
I got to make another trip down to Texas, and I think you guys aren't too far from where I've got some friends, so we'll have to stop by the world headquarters and check it out.
Come on, you guys are welcome anytime. I will ask one thing of you guys. Think of what we need for Pnuma. If you guys see a hole in our assortment, hard lines, a pack, whatever it is we need. I mean, it's guys like you that we rely on to tell us what is needed out there. So we listen to our customers, and our partners. So if you guys see anything that we can do
100%.
better, man,
As
let
we
us
wear
know.
the gear, we'll point out the flaws and we'll send them right over to you.
If there are any, right?
100%.
That's how we're going to get better. We'll continue to tailor your pants for you. You can say your camo pants are tailored. You're the only. If we'll even press them for you if you want to stop.
Get that nice
I feel special
crease.
now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crease
Right.
that's
It'll be
starched down it.
beautiful.
Yeah,
The
because
elk will appreciate the fine look while they're being slaughtered.
So awesome. Well, we will make sure that all connectivity as far as Pnuma and all that will be in the description below. Make sure that you guys check that out. Obviously, with support through us and through H3O as well. We want to make sure that we offer you guys the H3O Pnuma discount as well. We'll include that and make sure that you guys take advantage of it. Cody, we appreciate your time. It's awesome to get an opportunity to sit down with you. We look forward to seeing you this summer, and if we're lucky and you come to Denver before that, be sure to look us up, and you've got my number, and we'd obviously love to connect anytime that opportunity would bring that to us. So
man, thank you guys, and keep up the good work. You guys
Appreciate
you're killing it. So
all right, appreciate
I look
it.
forward to meeting you guys.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
All right, see you guys.